Okay, we started to record. So I will read the verse and first part of the Srila Prabhupada's commentary, and then we will continue. Before I would like to offer my prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Satchidananda Swami Tinamana Nityananda Priyavreshya Dinam Vatkali Sankitana Sharanamba Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamena Namaste Saraswati Deve Gora Vani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschitya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanupashyate sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tatona vijugaspsate. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Srila Prabhupada's purport. This is description of the Mahabhagavata, the great personality who sees everything in relation to Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord's presence is realized in three stages. The Kanishtadikari, in the lowest stage of realization, he goes to the place of worship, such as temple, church, or mosque, according to his religious faith, and worships there according to the scriptural injunctions. Devotees in this stage consider the Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. They cannot ascertain who is in what position of devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. Such a devotees follows the routine formulas and sometimes quarrel amongst themselves, considering one type of devotion better than another. These Kanishta Adhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane. So this is the first part of the comment, Srila Prabhupada's purport, in which we listen the explanation of the verse, where Prabhupada explains that this verse describes Mahabhagavata, and then Srila Prabhupada continues that with wonderful sentence. Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually the Supreme Lord's presence is realized in the three stages. So that means that according to the consciousness of the living being, we realize presence of the Lord. I would like to ask you, probably you were also following the texts on your own. There is something very significant in this first part of the Srila Prabhupada's purport, which indicates the universal approach of spirituality. Can you share maybe if someone find out what would be that very specific part of this purport?
The fact that he gives as examples churches, mosques, and so on, that's a universal principle.
Exactly. So Srila Prabhupada is not just focused on the followers of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, but he is directing our attention to broader perspective. Some of you are quite long in Krishna consciousness. Do you maybe know about specific texts of Bhaktivinoda Thakur about this subject matter? If someone is aware, maybe. I call it it can be found on the internet. Unfortunately, I I had difficulties of connecting my Zoom and everything, preparing for this presentation, and I couldn't find it. But I will try to find it and post on our conference. It's very, how to say, very significant. And also Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, in one of his Spiritual Warriors, I think part 4 or 5, also commented on this text of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is written 100 and more years ago. And it's I call it the best ecumenic text. Ecumena is the way how we interrelate with other religions, and why this is very important for us. It's not just because of spiritual understanding of some subject matter. And usually when I discuss with devotees or with the public who listens my classes, I usually say, whenever we find some description of the different levels of consciousness or understanding, it's mostly directed to us. It doesn't serve the purpose that we analyze others, but mostly to analyze ourselves. And this is specifically important because we are not just practitioners of spiritual path, but we also, we can say, I'm looking for English word. I will ask Harikata to help me. Kako kažemo na engleskom misionarski pokret? Actually, I find the word. We are also a missionary movement. We are not just spiritualists who are practice for ourselves. We are missionary movement. And in that sense, it's very important to understand this subject matter. I will make a small direction to one very interesting anecdote written in Harishauri Prabhu's Transcendental Diary. Once devotees, some people were complaining about their meeting with devotees, and it came to Prabhupada. They wrote, people received books from some of Prabhupada's preachers, and somehow they were dissatisfied, and they wrote the complaint letter to some ISKCON center, and somehow it came to Srila Prabhupada's address, and Harishauri Prabhu and some devotees were reporting about this. And Prabhupada commented, this is because they didn't met devotees. And everyone were a little bit shocked, and they tried to explain to Prabhupada, no, Srila Prabhupada, they met our devotees, your disciples. No. This is because they didn't met devotees. And then Prabhupada continues. They met beginners on a path of devotional service, because if someone meets devotee, he can just be astonished. This is very, I was shocked. And I was thinking how many times I met the people distributing books, giving programs, and who was astonished? Probably no one. But this is the Prabhupada standard, in the sense that, as we see here, there is description in this verse, first mantra which we are reading, mantra 6. Prabhupada said, this is description of Uttamadhikari. Everyone can be astonished, and how to say, maybe better word is just fascinated with someone who has such a equal vision, who is Samadarshi, because this person can encourage everyone, seeing everyone in relationship to Krishna. Maybe you are aware there is some description of Kanishta, Uttama, and Madhyama Adhikari in Upadeshamrita, but also there is a famous verse in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, very famous. avajananti mamuda manusantanu ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. This is 9th chapter, verse 11, where Krishna explains that those, when he appears in a human-like form, some people who are bewildered, they cannot accept him as a supreme personality of Godhead. And in a long purport, on the end, Prabhupada quotes the Bhagavatam verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29-21, which impersonalists or Mayavadis use to prove that Krishna is not a person. But it's interesting how Prabhupada comments this using the comments of Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Prabhupada said that this comment I will read for you. Some of those who deride Krishna, who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy, quote the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu, etc. The Supreme is present in every living entity. And Prabhupada said, but we should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharyas like Jiva Goswami instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized person who deride Krishna. And now there is a purport in which Prabhupada quotes Jiva Goswami, who says that someone who worships Supreme Personality of Godhead in church, mosque, temple, or whatever, but doesn't see the presence of Paramatma avatar, I would say like this, expansion of Paramatma in the heart of every living entities, without understanding that every body is a temple, there is no any use of such a worship. Very strong words by Jiva Goswami. Then Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. You can read it for yourself later on. So this is Bhagavad Gita 9:11, 9 chapter 11 verse. Then Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is a little bit more, how to say, educational in the sense that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if we cannot see Lord in the heart of every living being, then this should be changed. He's more like educational. He's giving more space for us to grow. So in the sense of understanding, one point of this verse we are reading from Isopanisad, this mantra 6, and first part explaining Kanishta Adhikari, one thing is to educate ourselves and to understand what is real spirituality, what is the standard of real spirituality. And another thing is how it is important in our missionary work. Probably you're aware of the description of Kadambakanana Swami about our society in in 3 levels. One is institutional level, where there are human interactions and managerial interactions, etc., projects, etc. Then another thing is, second level is the abhideya, the process of rising our consciousness to see presence of Lord according to higher consciousness. That includes also the missionary work. And third level is the relationship with Krishna, interaction with Supreme Personality of Godhead on the spiritual level. So if we don't try, and Maharaj suggests we should rise as soon as possible to Madhyama level, because at least on this level, we can be steady in our understanding Krishna consciousness and in our practice Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, although we are missionary movement, very often in our missionary work, we do opposite. Instead of providing the platform for people to rise in spiritual understanding, we often create platform for, how to say, for differentiation we are better because we are different in that, we are better because we are different in that. And therefore the Prabhupada's comment, in which he explains that visiting different places of worship doesn't mean that someone who visits, let's say, temple is better than someone who visits church, mosque, or other temple. And also, if someone visits the mosque or church, he's not better than someone who visits other places of worship. And in that sense, we can see that, at least I know from my beginning of Krishna consciousness, I listened the examples of superficiality of Christians. But after 34 years in Krishna consciousness, I have enough experience that we can make these analyses inside of our institution. How often we are superficial in our practice of in our understanding and our practice of Krishna consciousness. And now we have already these labels like liberals and conservatives and etc. The staunch followers of Srila Prabhupada and light followers of Srila Prabhupada. So these are all these designations are a result of actually our Kanishta understanding. So somehow we need to rise our consciousness at least to Madhyama level. So if you have some comment or question regarding what I said, please, we can open the forum, and then we will continue with some of yours reading. Or a comment means also some experience, realization, or etc. I think this is favorite subject matter of Chandrasekhar Acharya. But I didn't go to that details, dress code and etc. But point is that this is very important to understand, that this superficial differentiation amongst different believers, they are part of materialistic understanding of spirituality. And it's not just in other religions, it's a principle which is present everywhere. It's a phenomena which is present everywhere. On every path of spirituality, we have people, and majority of the people are on this Kanishta level. Then smaller group, smaller, depends, group are on the Madhyama level, and very rare group are on the Uttama level. But our aim is, while studying Srila Prabhupada's books and while practicing Krishna consciousness, to rise at least to the Madhyama level, but preferably to Uttama level. Is there some comment or question?
I have one. For me, it's good example. Can I explain you? It was like 10 years ago, and I invited one old woman, Christian woman, to lecture in Hare Krishna temple, and it was her first time in temple, but I provided for her before Bhagavad Gita and some another book, and she had already read at all like 2-3 books, so she had like some basic knowledge. And after lecture, she asked speaker about, like, you are pretty sure, and your way is better than my way, like a Christian woman, and what should I do? I have to stop my way like a Christian and stop to go to normal Christian church or something, you know, and and change everything and go to your temple and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and become a vegetarian and so on. And she asked him, I have to change everything now because you are sure you are right, yeah, but she was 75 years old and speaker. It's good Vaishnava, and he told her, you don't need to change everything now. You are 75 years old woman. You can continue your way like a Christian. You could just extend your spiritual life, extend with our books, with our mantra, and so on. And for her, it was very difficult because she didn't get used to this vision. Like in Christian church, you probably can hear ways like only this church, church across the street, it's strong church or something like this. Only here you can meet a God or something like this, and it magnify her to ISKCON. And she, for now, she has already read about Gita 10 times, I think. And I have a contact with her, and it keep her in our way. And it's one of the best thing in ISKCON in our spiritual way. We are not separate everything, and we are not in, we try to be not in this way, in this level, first spiritual level.
Thank you for sharing this. Definitely this is the credit of the preacher. Sometimes we have preachers who are very fundamental, very radical, and they will say, no, you have to give up, this is nonsense religion, you should join Krishna consciousness, this is real religion, etc. But this is wonderful example of a very mature preacher, devotee, who encouraged lady to continue her practice, and in this way she gained the trust, and she went deeper. I have example of my very good friend and one of the most senior devotee, active devotee from Croatia, who was visiting the Ireland, Dublin, and he gave a seminar for Catholics how to pray the regular prayer. I don't know how it's started in English, or Our Father from the sky, something like that. And while listening the seminar, people who were practicing Christianity for 50 years, they were amazed. And they said, I never understood this prayer in such a way. And there was example of Hare Krishna devotee who was teaching Christians how to pray their own prayer. So these are wonderful examples. Thank you, Vitaly, for sharing this. Would someone like to read next part of Madhyama Adhikaris? It's I think 2 passages. It's those who have attained the second stage. This is where we
Okay, those who have attained the second stage of realization are called Madhyama Adhikaris. These devotees observe the distinction between 4 categories of being. 1, the Supreme Lord. 2, the devotees of the Lord. 3, the innocent who have no knowledge of the Lord. And 4, the atheists who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in devotional service. The Madhyama Adhikari behaves differently toward these 4 classes of person. He adores the Lord, considering him the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in devotional service. He tries to awaken the dormant love of God in the hearts of the innocent, and he avoids the atheists who deride the very name of the Lord.
Thank you so much. So here we hear about 4 approaches to different categories of the people, of those who are on the middle level called Madhyama Adhikari. So I will remind us that Srila Prabhupada writes, this is the Supreme Personality Lord's presence is realized in 3 stages. So this is the realization of Madhyama Adhikari, how he realized Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows that Krishna is present in everyone's heart. And because of that, he relates to different categories of devotees in a different way. Again, because we are practicing Krishna consciousness through basically, probably all of you, me too, we are practicing Krishna consciousness through a school of bhakti called ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And that means that we are followers of ancient tradition of Guru Parampara, but also we are followers of modern institution called ISKCON. And sometimes we can see that even the on the highest level of highest position, maybe not highest level of realization of Krishna's presence, but on the highest level in institution, devotees come to the situation that they disagree about certain subject matters, basically on the superficialities. And it's not easy to stay, how to say, to stay in your own understanding and to not criticize those who are not. It's a great challenge. And therefore, Madhyama Adhikari, he doesn't go so much in argumentation and proving my path is better than yours. This is the point of, this is the activity of Kanishta Adhikari. Madhyama Adhikari, he says, these people are innocent, they don't understand. I will try to give them some, how to say, support in their spiritual growth. In a way, depends what is the public. Sometimes you can preach to them in the sense of sharing your understanding of spirituality. Sometimes you give them prasadam. Sometimes you give them just encouraging words. I wish you all the best or whatever. And such a devotees create also the friendship with those who are dedicated to Krishna. And also they are not mixing too much with Kanishta Adhikaris in a sense of being engaged or involved in different disagreements or quarrels or whatever. We see this very often. There is social media can be a great platform for sharing Krishna consciousness and sharing some inspirations, but can be also a platform for this Kanishta business. So why Madhyama Adhikari is not engaged in such activities as argumentation, proving, or quarreling about certain subject matter, because it's waste of time and energy. Because you see, if someone respects you and can hear from you, then you can maybe influence this person. But if this person doesn't respect you and it's just attached to his way of practicing Krishna consciousness, you cannot influence this person, but you can be kind. You can see this person is trying his or her best, and there is need for there is a time needed and room for improvement. and probably if practitioner continues to practice, it will come to the platform of Madhyamadikari. But Madhyamadikari is very eager also to hear from those who are advanced and to serve them. This is also very important. Prabhupada called this, actually this description here, it's also similar description in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam, which Gaur Govinda Maharaj is quoting in his book Trinada Pistunichana, and under the title of chapter called Society Without Enviousness. And similar thing that those when you see someone who is inferior in understanding, you try to help him. When you find someone who is on your level, you make friendship. When you find someone who is senior in understanding, not necessarily in age, you serve such a person and hear from such a person. And in that way, we can create society without enviousness. This is that's the society of servitude. That means with this understanding, we can create society of servitude. Because Madhyamadikari, he understands, I'm dasasmi, I'm servant, and I'm very serious about protecting my Krishna consciousness, not interfering with those who are fully atheistic and demoniac. I'm avoiding them. I'm creating friendship with those who are steady in Krishna consciousness. I serve those who are advanced, and I'm here to reach out to those who are trying, who are not yet on the path on spirituality. This is the way how Madhyamad Adhikari interacts. And again, I will connect with the fact that we are also missionary movement. Such a devotee is very much enthusiastic and engaged in the missionary activities, trying to help others rise in their Krishna consciousness. This is, and we can say that on the Madhyama platform, there are different levels. Those who are not yet on the Uttama platform, but very, very, very steady. Those who are becoming steady, yet they need to improve their Krishna consciousness. And in this way, we can learn from this that the greatest service for humanity as preachers we can give if we come to the Madhyama platform. And also for us individuals, this is the level of Krishna consciousness which keeps us steady. It's described in Upadeshamrita that Madhyama Adhikari, he has conquered the doubts. He doesn't have, he maybe is not yet so much fluent in ability to present Krishna consciousness to others, but he doesn't have doubts anymore. He's very steady in Krishna consciousness. He doesn't have ups and downs. He's like this, going up. Okay, maybe there is something which you would like to share about this, what we read. Okay, we can continue with reading. There is can you see my finger above the Madhyamadikari is the Uttamadikari. If someone would like to continue with reading, Atavi Krishna Prabhu, maybe you would like to read, or someone else.
Yes, Prabhu, I have a different edition. It's an old edition of Isopanisad, but I'll just go. It says, in the third stage of realization is the Uttama Adhikari, who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between an atheist and a theist, but sees everyone as part and parcel of God. He knows that there is no difference between a vastly learned Brahmana and a dog in the street, because both of them are of the Lord, although they are embodied differently according to the qualities of material nature. He sees that the Brahmana particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his little independence given him by the Lord, and that the dog particle has misused his independence and is therefore punished by the laws of nature by being encaged in an ignorant form. Not considering the respective actions of the Brahmana and the dog, the Uttamadhikari tries to do good both. The learned devotee is not led by material bodies, but is attracted by the spiritual spark within their respective entities.
Can you continue one more passage, this short passage?
Okay, Prabhu. Those who imitate an Uttamadhikari by flaunting a sense of oneness or fellowship, but who behave on the bodily platform are actually false philanthropists. The conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from an Uttamadhikari and not from a foolish person who does not properly understand the individual soul and the supersoul expansion of the Supreme Lord who dwells everywhere.
Thank you so much. So here we have an explanation which is correlated to verse itself. I will repeat verse once again. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his part and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. This is actually our goal. This is what we want to achieve. Not because to be recognized by this achievement, but because this consciousness allows us the darshan of the Lord. On the Madhyama platform, we relate to the Lord through the holy name, and we learn how holy name is non-different from the Lord. Also, we relate to the Lord to the deity form, although it's mostly practice of Kanishta Adhikari. But on a Madhyama level, we also are engaged in deity worship, even on an Uttama Adhikari level. We know that Goswamis from Vrindavan have been highly realized soul. Actually, they are eternal associates of the Lord, but they have been engaged also in different aspects of deity worship. But Madhyama Adhikari tries to realize Lord through this holy name and through the deity worship, understanding how Krishna manifests through the Archa Vigraha, or as Krishna manifests as an Archa avatar, Prabhupada says sometimes. And the approach to the deities in a different way. On the just beginning, deities symbolize the God as a person, because it's very difficult to understand how someone whom we cannot see, touch, etc. can be person. And this is the main confusion of impersonalistic or Mayavada understanding. But those who are trying to connect with the Lord, they take deity as a symbol of person. But when we become steady, when we learn from the Shastra and from the Uttamadhikaris, spiritual masters, spiritual teachers, how Krishna is present to the deity form, then we gradually experience reciprocation from the deities. Probably you have experiences praying in front of the deities, and then all of a sudden you get the answer. Or if you're engaged in deity worship, sometimes you have different realizations how Lord is corresponding to you. And highest level too is to understand that there is no difference between Lord as a deity, or Archavatar, or Lord who is performing his transcendental pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan, and that there is no difference between holy name and the Lord. My spiritual master has given one very practical example of his own experience. We have been on some retreat in Vrindavan, and then he was giving example how Krishna is present everywhere, but we need to learn to recognize his presence. And he gave example how he was on evening darshan in Krishna Balaram Mandir, staying in front of Gornitai deities, and he's sannyasi, so he got the garland from the pujari and flower. And somehow in the midst, during the Kartik, end of the Kartik, where so many devotees are there, his attention was drawn to one devotee in front of Radha Shyam, who was praying very intensely. And he just got inspiration, and he said to his assistant, please go somehow to this devotee and gave him this flower, this rose. And after some time, through the crowd, devotee came to devotee who was praying, and he said, you know, Maharaj sent flower for you. And for this devotee, that was the confirmation of his prayers. It was just, you know, just act of sending someone flower, but Paramatma is connecting us. Swamiji was, how to say, very focused on Gornitai deities, but somehow his attention was directed to this devotee, and he took it as maybe Paramatma is giving me sign that I should act, and he got inspiration, give this flower to this devotee. And it's flower, but for this devotee, it was the confirmation of his prayer. Another example which I would like to give, I'm not sure if I guess it's true story, but a few years ago, during the Mayapur Kirtan Mela, Jayapataka Maharaj came in his wheelchair to the temple room, and devotees asked him to sing, and he was singing, and many devotees could see that tears are coming from Panchatattva. I don't know, whole members of Panchatattva or Chaitanya Nityananda. And some concluded this is a miracle. Lord is touched by Jayapataka Maharaj's kirtan. Some interpreted, no, this is the condensation, because it's a metal deity, and there's a lot of devotees, there is humidity in the air, and it's come from that. But it's interesting that it was not on the other parts of the body, just from the eyes. And one advanced devotee commented, both is true. For those who are on a higher level of consciousness, truth is that Lord Chaitanya was touched by kirtan of his devotee. For those who are not on that level, it's water from humidity, lot of sweating in a temple room, lot of people, and it's condensation of the metal body of the deity. So these are the examples how Madhyamadhikari is seeing the Lord, and how Kanishta and how Uttamadhikari is seeing the Lord. For Uttamadhikari, there is no difference, and this is our goal. So through reading of Shastra, we are hearing. This is the process of hearing. Now I'm assuming the service of extended Acharya. Prabhupada is writing about something. I'm serving as a translator, and you are serving as those who are hearing, but I'm also hearing. So this is the process, how we are getting information, and this is one level. So we are getting information and some realizations of other devotees we are sharing, but next level is transformation of the consciousness. So ultimately, we want to be transformed. And also when we are studying in our individual time, when we are spending time in reading or studying or hearing, these are the processes. We are getting some new informations, we are reflecting on it, and some stays in our heart or in mind consciousness, and maybe we are not aware immediately, but it stays, it accumulates. And as the process goes on, gradually we are transformed. Our consciousness is transformed. So we are learning actually to see Krishna everywhere. And what is described here in explanation of what is the vision of Uttamadhikari, its ability to see Krishna in a heart or in the body of other living beings, not just in other people, not just in other devotees, but in all living beings. This is the way how Uttamadhikari sees things. Of course, even on the beginning stages of our Krishna consciousness, we are blessed with these visions, but unfortunately they don't stay permanently. We got like glimpses what it is. During the kirtan, during the reading, during the class, we can have this aha moment. I don't know how it's called, how it's said in English. I think it's aha moment. Then we recognize, wow, yeah, that's it. But it sometimes doesn't stick so long with us. When we come to the challenging situation, we cannot implement this principle which we learn, or this aha moment we cannot implement in our life. But it happens, and it's a process of accumulation of these aha moments, and gradually becomes our own realization, our own vijnana, we can say, realized knowledge. I often give example in my classes to newcomers. I'm very much engaged in preaching to yoga people. And sometimes I like, because I like agriculture, I'm growing vegetables also in free time. And I give example of small seeds of, salad or red beet or tomatoes or whatever. It's very small. When it's dry, you just do like this and it's fly away. But when you put in this small seed in a soil, when there is an exchange of water, sun, and everything, somehow plant is coming, becomes big, and gives the fruit of life. You can survive by it. And I always say to the people, can any factory produce this seed? No. It can modify. Factories or laboratories can modify the seeds, but they cannot produce it, because Krishna is the seed of life. Krishna explains in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita this. And when we study spiritual literature, we actually learn to see God's presence everywhere. This is basically Uttama level. And as I said, how we are becoming steady in our Krishna consciousness, we develop the ability to more and more see Krishna's presence. When we come to the level that we always everywhere see Krishna's presence, then we can say we are on the Uttama platform. Like small boy Prahlad Maharaj, who was asked by his father, "Where is your Lord?" And Prahlad Maharaj said, "He's everywhere." In your heart, in my heart, everywhere. And then Hiranyakashipu asked, "Is he in this pillar?" Yes, of course. And proud Hiranyakashipu took his gada, mace, and he smashed the pillar, and all of a sudden amazing form of Lord Nrsimhadeva appears. So yeah, Lord is present in every. Hridayananda Maharaj used to say, Lord is present in every atom, and he can be so small that he can make the walk in an atom. So he can be so small and he can be extremely big, and in same time Krishna is present as a wonderful Govinda, Supreme Personality of Godhead in Goloka Vrindavan, performing the most charming, most beautiful pastimes. And this is what we want to achieve by studying our scripture. So yeah, this is explanation what is the vision of Uttamadhikari? So such a person can see Lord in everyone's heart, and he doesn't become inimical towards those who are not on a spiritual path. For the end of this part, I will just share one another small story. Probably everyone heard this, but it's nice to remember. There was a incident when big scholar Digvijay came to Vrindavan, hearing that there are amazing scholars there, Rupa and Sanatan, and he came to challenge them for you know, how it's called, debata, discussion, who understands better logic, nyaya, philosophy, or whatever.
Debate.
And debate, yeah, thank you, debate. And they said, no, you are certainly better than us. And he asked their confirmation, and they probably signed something. And then he was very proudly going to Vrindavan, and he came to Jiva Goswami, who is disciple of Rupa Goswami. But we know that Jiva Goswami is the one of the greatest philosopher of the you know, of the history, and he smashed him in pieces. And when Rupa Goswami heard this, he sent him away from Vrindavan. Not because Jiva Goswami did something wrong, but by this act, Rupa Goswami is, via Rupa Nugas, he's teaching generations of devotees after what is the proper mood of Vrindavan, or this wonderful consciousness, higher consciousness. Obviously, Rupa and Sanatan could smash these arguments, but they didn't want to even involve. Jiva Goswami felt as a disciple that he should protect the interests of his spiritual masters. But Rupa Goswami sent him to Mathura. And he said, Mathura is a good place for you. Vrindavan is not for you. In Vrindavan, we don't argue in such a way. Later on, Sanatan Goswami told him, you should have some mercy to Jiva and bring him back. But by this pastime, we can understand that Rupa Goswami is teaching us what is the understanding and behavior of Uttamadhikari. I mean, obviously, I'm not on that platform. I can make some philosophical interpretations, but point is that we should understand how to come to that platform by following the process given to us through Guru Parampara, and by learning how to see Krishna's presence everywhere. I gave small example of this seed. I always said to the people, when you see the flower, it's a multi-dimensional piece of art by the greatest artist. It's you know, it's 3D. You can touch the consistency of the petals, of the stab, of everything. You can smell it even, and it's multi-dimensional spiritual artwork. And if you go in nature and try to see these flowers in that way, then we are actually gradually developing the tools how to see Krishna's presence everywhere. Obviously, when there's something wonderful, it's easy to see Krishna's hand. When it's something difficult, it's not so easy. We see the hand of the postman who brought the you know, the bad news to us. But Queen Kunti prays that in her prayers we can learn how even in the bad, difficult times we can see Krishna's hand in our life. So maybe some of you remember the famous verse of Lord Brahma from the 14th chapter of 10th canto, when he explaining what should be the attitude of devotees in bad situations. It's very famous verse, Tatenu Kampam Susumikshamano. Probably everyone is aware of that. When Lord Brahma says that if you are very patiently receiving our karma and still taking shelter of the Lord, going back home, back to Godhead, becomes our inherited right, something like that. My English is not so good, and sometimes I cannot find the proper words. But in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that for the son to receive the inheritance from the father, it's enough that he is alive. If he is alive, he will inherit the father's property. So in this same thing happens with those who are patiently tolerate the karmic reactions which come as when bad postman brings the our bad karma. We shouldn't beat the postman. He's just a postman. He doesn't have anything with that. But when someone does something bad to us, we don't see it. Oh, he's just a postman of my bad karma, or reaction of what I did in the past. But we see he's guilty for my pain. But Uttamadhikari doesn't see world like this. He sees world in a different way, and this is our goal. So I open forum for discussion. If you, Prabhus, want to share something about this, or if there is some point, question, or whatever. No, you cannot ask question. My friend Harikata wanted to ask question, but he is not allowed. We will talk in private. Okay, we can read further. Who would like to read next part of the text? It is clearly mentioned.
It is clearly mentioned in the 6th mantra that one should observe or systematically see. This means the one must follow the previous acharyas, the perfect teachers. Anupasthiti is the exact Sanskrit word used in this connection. Anu means the follow, and pasthiti means to observe. Thus the word anupasthiti means that one should not see things as he does with the naked eyes, but should follow the previous acharyas. Due to material defects, the naked eyes cannot see anything properly. One cannot see properly unless one has heard from a superior source. And the highest source is the Vedic wisdom, which is spoken by the Lord himself. Vedic truth are coming in disciple succession for the Lord to Brahma, from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyas, from Vyas to his many disciples. Formerly, there was no need to record the message of the Vedas, because people in early age were more intelligent and had superior memories.
Sharper
they
memory.
Could follow sharp memories. They could follow the instructions simply by hearing once from the mouth of a bona fide spiritual master.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
My English is not so good, so please forgive me if I'm
No, you have been good. Mine is not good. So in the questions, I requested you to connect this with the statement or instruction from Upadeshamrita called Satovrite, which means following the footsteps of previous acharyas. So here is explanation of this word anupashyati. And Srila Prabhupada describes in the commentary that sixth mantra mentions that one should observe or systematically see. This means that one must follow the previous acharyas, the perfect teacher. Anupashyati is the exact Sanskrit word used. Anu means to follow and pashyati means to observe. What we can say that this following means actually? When someone says to you, you should follow previous authorities, what does mean to you? How to understand this? To do exactly things as previous authorities did, or what it means for you?
To follow his behavior, to follow his understanding, his knowledge, to follow what he does and to better himself as a disciple of his guru and as a loving servant of Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. There is a very interesting anecdote which I heard on one of the classes, how I don't know how it's called, the doctor for animals, vet doctor, veterinarian, I don't know, vet doctor. He was invited for some specific case when a horse was had some problem, and he punched the horse with a fist in a belly or in throat. I don't know what happened. Yeah, in throat. And the horse was rescued from the pain. And disciples saw it. And the next situation, when there was some doctor was not available, and he went for intervention, and he followed his teacher, and he also punched the horse in the neck, and he did big problem. So then teacher explained to him, you know, this horse had some fruit or something in the throat, and I had to smash it that it can pass down. But in this case, you cannot follow this. So in explanation 434, Bhagavad Gita, famous verse where is described what does it mean to tadvidi pranipatena pariprashana sevaya. Prabhupada explained that blind following, it's accused, it's not the system. Blind following is not the system. Service attitude is a system, and humbly inquiring, that's the system. And why here Prabhupada insists on the point of assuming things from the perspective of Acharya, not Prabhupada is using term I in the sense we see by eye, but we cannot see Atma with eye. What is the meaning? What are the four, how to say, the, как се каже, недостатъци?
Insufficiencies.
Yeah, four insufficiencies or defects of the conditioned soul. Could we remember together what are the four?
Well, the insufficiencies that we have is that we make mistakes and
Yes.
our senses are imperfect.
Yes.
We have the tendency to cheat, and of course we are readily fall into illusion.
Yeah. So that's the point. And we here is suggested that we should learn to see as someone said already, as Acharya sees, because or as Uttama Adhikari sees, we can see like that. Acharya should be on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, and when we hear from him how he observes the world, then we can learn. As I gave this example of small seed of vegetable, everyone who would think about this would come to the same conclusion, isn't it? There is small seed, you put it in the soil, and eventually grows as a food. But when someone directs our attention to this, then we become more aware. So it's like that. So we learn in Krishna consciousness that there is something which we call the seeing through the medium of knowledge. Someone probably or someone can say, what is the Sanskrit term for that? Seeing through the eyes of knowledge.
Chaksur.
Sorry?
Chaksur.
Yeah. Next, there is Shastra Chakshu.
Right.
One who sees through the eyes of knowledge. So this is the way. Because we can say that spirituality is a universal science. It's already present in every living being. But it's not easy that we just, sitting in a coffee shop, drinking our morning coffee before job, we come to the enthusiastic idea, oh yes, now I want to become spiritual and I want to see world in a spiritual way. It doesn't happen like this, isn't it? Maybe sometimes very, very, very extremely rare, but usually doesn't happen like this. There should be some intervention. We live our lives, and maybe someone is more inclined to spirituality, someone less. But till there is external intervention of spiritual power, this process of transformation doesn't happen so easily. I remember by being teenage boy, I was thinking of quite early about, I saw the deficiencies of the world, and I was looking for something which is permanent solution. And I took a lot of time reading classical world literature. Like, in Europe, we read the French classic writers, the Russian, German, English, Italian, and I was going through literature trying to find the answers, but somehow it didn't happen. And finally, my close friend, who was in touch with devotees, he gave me the book printed in Croatian language, Rajavidya, the King of Knowledge. And, I assumed tons of literature, huge, complicated. And he gave me this small book, and my ego, was destroyed because I couldn't understand. I could memorize first 20 pages, but I couldn't connect, I couldn't understand. A few months later, I met a devotee who sold me several other books. And again, I tried to read, but I couldn't connect. And finally, after some time, I could relate. And it was like, wow, this is what I'm looking for. Prabhupada, the structure, the thoughts, understandings, questions which I had in such a amazing way that it became clear, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. But it didn't happen just like this. It had to be intervention from outside. So this is the importance of Guru Parampara. We have the chain of spiritual teachers coming down from Krishna, self-realized souls who are translating this knowledge to the language we can understand. And then the process of transformation starts. And then we develop eyes by which we can see that in everybody there is Atma. And gradually we develop the abilities how to relate Atma to Atma, not body to body or ego to ego, but Atma to Atma. So this is the meaning of this. Of course, furthermore, when we will discuss Bhagavad Gita, we will go in much more details about explaining the Guru Parampara and everything, but this is the main point. Is there any comment or? Okay, we can continue with reading. At the present, there are many commentaries. Would someone like to read?
Yeah, I'll read. At present, there are many commentaries on the revealed scriptures, but most of them are not in the line of disciplic succession, coming from Srila Vyasadeva, who originally compiled the Vedic wisdom. The final, most perfect and sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. There is also the Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the Lord himself and recorded by Vyasadeva. There are most important revealed scriptures, and any commentary that contradicts the principle of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is unauthorized. There is complete agreement among the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and no one should try to reach any conclusion about the Vedas without receiving instructions from members of Vyasadeva's disciplic succession, who believe in the personality of Godhead and his diverse energies as they are explained in Sri Isopanisad. Should I finish?
Yeah, you can finish.
According to the Bhagavad Gita 18.54, and only one who is already on the liberated platform, Brahmabhuta, Srimad Bhagavatam 4:30-20, can become an Uttama Adhikari, devotee, and see every living being as his own brother. This vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. One who imitates the symptoms of an Uttama Adhikari may serve another's outward body for the purpose of fame or material reward, but he does not serve the spiritual soul. Such an imitator can have no information of the spiritual world. The Uttama Adhikari sees the spirit soul within the material body and serve him as spirit. Thus, the material aspect is automatically served.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada very proudly commented the hundreds of translations of Bhagavad Gita, but no one has become devotee. And from this Bhagavad Gita as it is, so many people are changing their lives. So this is the power of Guru Parampara, of hearing from Uttamadhikaris. When we learn and hear properly, then we understand properly, and then we can transform our heart or our character, which is, as we concluded, the main, our consciousness, which is the main purpose. So mantra 6 is directing that this understanding that everything is in relationship to Supreme Personality of Godhead is a result of development of consciousness or purification of consciousness, we can say. So on a Kanishta level, we perceive Lord in a specific way, just in the places of worship. In the Madhyama consciousness, we perceive Lord in much more situations. We perceive Lord in the holy name. We perceive Lord in Archa Vigraha. We perceive Lord, at least theoretically, in the heart of all living beings. And not just theoretically, because we are trying to practice our regular sadhana, which is actually activity of the soul. Activity of the body can be, we have to arise funds for our existential needs or needs of our family, and there are so many interactions in that field. We can have different interests as a hobby, but the activity of the soul is the service to the Lord. And Madhyama platform means that we are very active in performing our sadhana and our service to Lord. And in that way, we are cultivating our spiritual consciousness. And of course, on the Uttama level, we see Lord everywhere. So it's, you see how our consciousness is developed. We more and more see, we more and more develop ability to see Lord. Kanishta, just a temple, mosque, or church. Madhyama, in other living beings, in deity, in holy name. And Uttama, he sees everything connected to the Lord. And this vision is available through the chain of spiritual teachers from which we call Guru Parampara. And also very important thing is that Prabhupada concludes that if our vision is not consistent with the vision of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, then there is some room for improvement. And we can pretend that we are Mahatma, great soul, but according to the standard of Bhagavatam, great soul is Uttamadhikari, who sees everything connected to the Lord. And Prabhupada concludes this purport by quoting Bhagavad Gita 1844, explaining that that this liberative platform, Brahma Bhuta, it's very important as a platform to develop the Uttamadhikari consciousness. It's actually equal. Brahma Bhuta means that we see everything connected with the Lord. So this is and also very interesting, in commenting this verse Srila Prabhupada writes that without coming to the platform of Brahma Bhuta, we cannot practice devotional service. We can practice different mixtures, Bhakti Mishra, something like that. And then he explains further that by regularly hearing spiritual knowledge or reading, we are automatically coming to Brahma Bhuta platform. So for us devotees, reaching this platform of Brahma Bhuta, it's a result of regular hearing. And if we analyze the sadhana which is created by our founder Acharya, it's created around this point to find enough time to be regularly on the daily basis exposed to the hearing of spiritual subject matter, or reading or hearing. So this is the conclusion. Okay, we go to mantra 7. Is there any question or something which you would like to comment?
Well, just something came to my mind. What I see, like right now, we have a problem somewhere in the Middle East, and I see the interaction between two groups, and each one of them have this heavy interaction. And by looking at this verse and what we have read and tried to study, we can see that if we don't reach that level of seeing everyone as part and parcel of God, we are always going to be thinking about, oh, I am better than you are. You are not part of God, but I am. And you guys are going to go to hell, and we are going to go to heaven. So this is a very important realization that we should study more and practice more in such a way that we can realize at least through the stages.
Yeah, it's so important. Thank you, Prabhu. Again, connecting with our missionary activities, we can see how the knowledge of Krishna consciousness can bring so many benefits to the people. Practically all conflicts which are which we are facing, either on a individual level, you know, with the neighbors, friends, family members, co-workers, or in the communities, or in nations, or globally, they are all result of mundane vision. If we would be enriched by spiritual understanding that in every body there is a Krishna, and also Jiva Atma, which is part of Krishna, then we could understand that this is the platform for brotherhood, not just amongst the men, but the basis of ahimsa is also you know, created around this understanding. If we understand that Krishna as a Paramatma and Jiva Atma are present in the body of animal, how can we kill and eat animal? No one can do this. So we can see that this understanding is so important. Is important for us to give us needed peace, that we can be focused on our relationship, cultivation of our relationship with Krishna, and also can bring peace to whole world. And this is the great challenge for us, who I always used to say that I'm a receiver of matchless gift. So what should I do with that? I cannot repay it, because it's impossible to repay knowledge which can bring immortality, and not just immortality, but possibility to be with Krishna. Only way that we can do is to become very how to say, steady in our understanding, and that we can become used by Krishna to help others to become steady in that. Yeah, here is try to imitate Acharya's behavior, but don't punch the horse. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Someone else would like to comment something before we continue? Okay, we continue with mantra 7. One who always sees all living entities as a spiritual spark in equality, one with the Lord, becomes true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Srila Prabhupada's purport. Except for the Madhyamadikari, the Uttamadikari discussed above, no one can correctly see spiritual position of living being. The living entities are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, just as the spark of a fire is qualitatively one with the fire. Yet, sparks are not the fire. As far as quantity is concerned, for the quantity of heat and light present in the spark, it's not equal to that in fire. The Mahabhagavata, the great devotee, sees oneness in the sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and energetic, there is the sense of oneness. Although from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning to the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light, and fire are the same. This is okay. I will shortly comment. Can someone remember another analogy which Prabhupada gives, explaining the difference between in understanding the simultaneously same and different? There are at least two very wonderful examples. One is, Prabhupada explains in Gita commentary, when green bird flies to the green tree, it doesn't merge to the tree, just become part of the tree, but to enjoy the fruits. So bird doesn't become green tree. It keeps its individuality. So another example is the drop of ocean and ocean. Obviously, the drop of ocean is ocean, but it's not the same. So therefore, here it's said that there is a oneness in quality, but difference in quantity. In one drop of water, we can find consistency of huge amount of water in the ocean, but in one drop of water, we cannot find the how to say, the wonderful underwater life with so many aquatics and you know, different species of life and etc. So obviously there is a difference, and sometimes we have a difficulty to understand. We will find out different arguments which Prabhupada gives regarding to that, but as it's described here, only when someone becomes fully purified and transformed in consciousness, this person can see this oneness or brotherhood of all living beings, and oneness in that sense, but also difference. And therefore we said unity in diversity. Unity in a sense that everything is a creation of the Lord, as Krishna says that everything is rest on him, as the pearls are resting on a you know, how it's called, on the string. So in that way, everything rests on Krishna, and everything is Krishna in one way, but in simultaneously everything is different from Krishna. This is very difficult to understand. We can intellectualize, we can you know, make philosophical discussions about this, but really to realize it's not easy. But if we practice Krishna consciousness, if we study regularly here, it becomes natural that we understand this. Can we continue with reading? Someone would like to read?
I can read next one. In this mantra, the words Ekatvam Anupashata indicates that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known quantities, qualities of the whole. Qualities, yeah, exactly, of the whole. But they are not quantitatively, I don't know, equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity, for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean, but the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal.
Qualitatively.
Yeah, equal in chemical composition to all the salt present. In the ocean, if the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, yeah. How it's pronounced correctly? It's so hard word for me.
Is there someone who is English speaking? It's better.
Well, say qualitatively and quantitatively.
Thank
Qualitative
you.
and quantitative. And the previous word about minute is actually spelled the same as minute, but it's a different word pronounced minute. That means very small, but it's spelled the same as the word minute, like 60 seconds on the clock. It's a different word though, minute. Yeah, qualitatively, quantitatively.
Thank you.
Sounds tricky. There would be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the supreme being in any respect. Therefore, Ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense, there is one interest, just as in a family the interest of all members is one, or in a nation the national interest is one, although there are many different individual citizens, since the living entities are all members of the same supreme family. Their interest and that of the supreme being are not different. Every living being is the son of the supreme being, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.5. All living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest. So many examples.
Thank you so much. I think Tara Prabhu was explaining the three energies, Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. So Antaranga Shakti is divided into three: Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit. It's equivalent to Sat Chitananda. The characteristics of the soul are Sat Chitananda, that means eternal, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. So this Antaranga Shakti, internal potency of the Lord, has three aspects. One is Hladini, it's pleasure potency. One is Sandini, means eternal existence, and one is Samvit. It's a little esoteric, but yeah, we can understand this in that way, that it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita and other shastras, that this Sat Chitananda is equivalent to that. And it's very interesting how Srila Prabhupada is giving arguments. If we would be the same as the Lord, then where would be the question of our being embodied forcefully in material body? When would be such a possibility? There wouldn't be such a possibility. Even when Lord appears in, so to say, human-like form, he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. We find examples when Krishna, as a small baby, was in a relationship with Putana, who tried to poison him. He was, although he looked like a small baby, he didn't lose his supreme potency. So this small baby sucked the life force of the Putana. Or demon Vyamasura took small child as a wind, and all of a sudden the small baby has become so powerful that demon was killed. And in another Puranas was described different, not just Bhagavatam Purana, in different Puranas we find different stories about Supreme Personality of the Godhead. And again, learning from the liberated souls, as Srila Prabhupada, who is our Param Guru and our founder acharya who by whom we are learning, we can understand these subject matters. So the main argument which Prabhupada gives here is that if ordinary soul would be same in quantity as a Lord, I mean, we will say like this: if ordinary soul would be fully same as the Lord, then there wouldn't be question of being conditioned. But we can understand that by nature we are eternal. We have a potency to manifest full knowledge and bliss, but as a marginal Tatashta Shakti, if we stick to the material energy, Bahiranga Shakti, then we manifest material qualities and we become identified with something which is not permanent, which is changeable. This is body. But when we are attached to Antaranga Shakti, internal potency, higher potency, I mean, there is no higher and lower. Everything is Krishna's energy, but it serves different purpose. Usually I give this example. By electricity, you can heat and you can make something cold, isn't it? It's same energy, but when this electrical energy manifests through the refrigerator, it makes effects of coldness. When it's manifested through the heater, then it creates warmth or heating. Same energy. So the purpose of Bahiranga Shakti is to serve the desires of living beings, to control and enjoy, and serves of Antaranga Shakti, its service of Antaranga Shakti, or purpose of Antaranga Shakti is to serve the needs of liberated souls. That means exchange with the Krishna. So in that sense, we can understand, yes, by eyes of knowledge, we can understand that by the quality, we originally, Atma, not our body, but Atma, we are same as the Lord. But quantitatively, we are not the same. There is a huge difference. So this is the main point. Can we continue with reading?
Okay, the spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment. As stated in the Vedanta Sutra, Anandamayu Vyasat, by nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord, and each of his parts and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are encaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on the wrong platform. Apart from the material platform is the spiritual platform, where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform, there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called where am I? It's called Nirguna. On the Nirguna platform, there is never a clash over the objects of enjoyment. Here, in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings, because here the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That is the highest platform of a spiritual interest. And as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion, moha, or lamentation, soka.
Thank you so much. So Prabhupada describes that that spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, Anandamaya Vyasat. This Anandamaya, it's the term which defines the certain level of consciousness. We learn that there are 5 levels of consciousness. Annamaya, I'm eating, therefore I'm being. This is the you know, practically animal level of consciousness. And when we are small babies, we are on that platform, you know, just eating. Every small babies, everything putting in a mouth. So next level is pranamaya. Prana means life. So when we evolve in our consciousness, we understand that there are other creatures who also need to live and to eat. Then next level is manamaya, or manamaya or jnanamaya. Manamaya means I think, therefore I exist. In European philosophies, famous French philosopher Descartes is the author of this understanding. But it's described in Vedas, you know. Mana means mind, and mind means thinking, feeling, willing. These are the functions of the mind. And thinking means that we are processing things, we are accumulating informations, and then informations and knowledge become our own experience. This level of consciousness is called Vijnana Maya. And on the level of Vijnana Maya, we practice Madhyama level of Krishna consciousness. Ananda Maya is a completely spiritual level of consciousness, and this is the level on which spiritual world exists. Krishna exists on Ananda Maya level. So spiritual being is meant for that, to enjoy on that level. And it's explained that the how to say, the common need of everyone is enjoyment, happiness. This is the integral part of us as a spiritual being, because Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ananda is a need for enjoyment. But when we are bereft of spiritual knowledge, we try to enjoy through the senses. So there are two levels of consciousness. One is spiritual, one is material. Material consciousness means I'm this body, and I communicate with the world through the senses. And the need for enjoyment, I'm trying to consume through the senses. Spiritual level means I'm spiritual being, part of the Krishna, and this level is acquired by knowledge, so that we see ourselves and others as a spiritual beings through the medium of knowledge. So if we don't have a knowledge, then we are forced to find happiness in sense gratification. And the result of this are the conflicts. First conflict is that sense gratification cannot fill the need for happiness or enjoyment, because it's material and the need is spiritual. Second is that in illusion of idea that we will try to be happy by sense gratification, we are forced to be indulged in sense gratification more and more and more. This requires more resources. This requires the highest position of control, and creates more and more conflicts. So in that sense, without spiritual knowledge, we are actually forced to be in conflict situation with the other living beings, because we are always in competition who will get better position for enjoyment. But when we understand that enjoyment is available inside by connecting to the source of all enjoyment, and this is Krishna, then we are on the safe position. So this is the meaning of this part. Someone has a question or comment about this? Purposefully, I'm not commenting about rasas, and because it's meant for discussions when we will discuss nectar of devotion. Okay, if someone would like to read.
Okay, as I continue.
You can.
Okay, here we go. A godless civilization arises from illusions, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization such as that is sponsored by the modern politicians is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. That is the law of nature. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14, no one but those who surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can surpass the stringent laws of nature. Thus, if we wish to get rid of all sorts of illusion and anxiety and create unity out of all diverse interests, we must bring God into all our activities. The result of our
Okay,
yeah,
continue.
Okay. The results of our activities must be used to serve the interests of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interests can we perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned herein. The Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in this mantra and the Brahma Bhuta, Srimad Bhagavatam 430.20, interest mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 are one and the same. The Supreme Atma or soul is the Lord Himself, and the minute Atma is the living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual minute beings. For the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Father extends himself through his children and maintain them in order to derive pleasure. If the children obey the Father's will, family affairs will run smoothly with one interest and a pleasing atmosphere. The same situation is transcendently arranged in the absolute family of the Parat Brahman, the Supreme Spirit.
Thank you so much. So Prabhupada comments and makes differentiation between godless civilization and godful civilization. And he describes very practically what is the difference and what are the results of godless civilization. As I said, as we listen from description of a different level of consciousness in mantra 6, through which God is manifests himself in a different way. In the same way, we can understand that if we don't have spiritual knowledge, unfortunately, Krishna cannot manifest in our life. This is the situation. This is very, how to say, sad situation, but it's very obvious and very visible in every corner of the world. Soon, even if someone is not an official practitioner of some religion, but if someone cultivates the principles of absolute truth, like kindness, like humility, like different things, immediately these people can see more presence of spirituality than those who are not practicing this. And yeah, unfortunately, Prabhupada always said, not always, but often, that in trying to find solution for material problems with material solutions, we just increase the problem. And in that sense, it's very important to understand how we can be part of solution of the problems of the world if we become established in spiritual understanding. This is very, very important. And yeah, Srila Prabhupada explains the position of Jiva Atma as one who is meant to please the Lord. Some acharyas are describing that we are actually expansions of Srimati Radharani, because we are Shakti, we are Prakriti, and Radharani is how to say, embodiment of Prakriti, and we are extensions of the Prakriti. And Lord Chaitanya explains in Shikshashtaka prayers the mood of Chaitanya, I mean himself in a mood of Radharani, explaining even if you I'm your eternal servant, even if you embrace me with love, or if you kick me away. This is the level of surrender of Radharani. But more precisely, Radharani thinks, if I alone can give so much pleasure to the Lord, how much pleasure the Lord can get from all the jiva who are not acting right now as his servants. And therefore, Radharani's ambition is to make everyone Krishna conscious, because in that way she will increase the pleasure of the Lord. So this is the and how this pleasure develops. When we become pure in our consciousness, then we naturally identify as the servants of the Lord. And what is the main inclination of the servant? It's to please the master, isn't it? So with this attitude, I want to please the Lord, we can become empowered with the possibility that we can receive Lord's mercy and love. And this is the reason why we want to become Krishna conscious. I will read last paragraph. The Param Brahman is as much as a person as individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the living entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge, and life eternal. That is the real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. But such a Mahatma or great soul is very rarely seen, because such a transcendental realization is achieved only after many, many births. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation, or the miseries of material existence, or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. That is the information we get from the mantra of this mantra of Sri Isopanisad. So, as I said earlier, the spiritual consciousness allows us, or how to say, kako se kaže oplemenjuje nas, or empowering us or enriching us with ability that we can relate with the Lord. In the conditioned state of consciousness, we relate to the Lord, please save me, please give me your shelter. We are asking something. But when we are situated on a spiritual platform, we are offering love to the service. So this is the most important thing. And this offer of love and service empowers us with the ability that we can receive Lord's blessings. I'm so sorry that I was speaking so much. It's my first time teaching Bhakti Shastra in that way. And hopefully I will evolve by the process, and that we can have more interactions. And I was really a little bit, how to say, scary how this technology will function, because I'm not used to this. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for your valuable time you engaged in this. Hopefully it was useful for you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sundarananda Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. You did well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. All
Thank
the
you, Prabhu.
best. Thank you. All the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All the best. Hare Krishna.